We do a lot of these readings in the community and on the campus. And one of the great things about that is a lot of times we're excited to be like the first poetry reading for a person. So is there anyone in the house that has never been to a poetry reading before? Okay, let's give them a round of applause. Because a lot of times when you come to these poetry readings, you're kind of like, oh, I like how some of you dressed up nicer than me. Well done. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Professor Juan Morales. I'm the chair of English and World Languages at CSU Pueblo. David is the author of 5 collections of poetry. Does that include the translations? No. And two collections of translations he's done with some renowned, famous poets from Europe, including Denmark and a German poet. And one example of this is the poetry of Jan Wagner, The Art of Topiary, which is for sale. And we're also celebrating David's book, Another City, which is a new collection with Milkweed Press. And if you're a ProViz nerd kind of like me, that's a big deal. He's also like the recipient of at least 2 NEA grants. And it's the types of leaders and mentors like David that help you find those opportunities and those paths. He left Pueblo like 10 or 11 years ago? 11 years ago, and the fact that so many of you are here is a great testament to his importance. So this is a special reading, and I'm really honored to read with him tonight. And I appreciate, so the theme of this is kind of like a homecoming in a lot of ways for David. And I'll try not to choke up. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming David Keplinger.
Thank you, Juan. That was a wonderful introduction, and in every way true. This is a homecoming for me. Poetry is a homecoming. I grew up Catholic. The Catholics are known for ornamentation in their churches, and they're known for ceremony, and they're known for ritual. At least in my experience, in my diocese, we were not known for our singing. We're not known for our ability to memorize hymns and to sing them loudly and well. And so my experience of hymn singing as a young adult was sort of a strong first verse, and then kind of a weaker second verse, and then in the third verse everyone is sort of looking at the hymn book and kind of mumbling. And so I wrote this poem called Hymn, which is about memory, and I had the idea that memory sort of works that way too. That, like a hymn, memory has a story that everybody agrees upon. When you sit around with your family telling stories, there's the story that everybody agrees upon. Everybody knows how this story is going to end. But then there's also a second verse to that story, which is the story that you know, that happened to you, that only you can tell. And then there's a third verse to that story too, which is the story that nobody talks about. And it's the story that's kind of invisible now. It's underneath everything. It's running like a current underneath all those other stories. But it's the stuff that really happened. It's the reality of what really happened. We're somewhere in a story. A certain hymn begins. It's the night the lights have failed. My mother reclines on the couch. Candlesticks encircle her. My father hunches over the fuse box, where somewhere in a story, the hymn goes on. It's a story in which each of us is making up a story, and we search for each other. We hold the candles forward, but only light up our own faces. We're somewhere in a story, the hymn repeats. It's the last verse no one ever seems to know. It's the one we mouth the words to, watching other mouths mouth words in the dark church of memory.
Thanks for coming and supporting the Blowback Gallery and Jeff, and thanks to P4, the Pueblo Progressive Poetry Project. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's under Chairman Juan.